Every 2 years, something wild happens out in the Coachella Valley. Giant and sometimes thought-provoking art installations pop up in the middle of the desert, and for a few months, this sun-soaked landscape becomes a playground for creativity and big ideas. This is Desert X 2025, and I spent the day exploring all of the different art installations on display this year. Let's jump into it. The day begins with a 2-hour drive out from Los Angeles to the desert, and you can use the Desert X app to find the location of all of the different installations. I would recommend at least a half day to see all of them.
I'm here with my mom and we're going to check out our first installation.
This first piece was from Jose Davila and it was called The Act of Being Together. The piece featured multiple stone blocks made out of marble and stacked in the desert. I liked this one as it reminded me of the Seven Magic Mountains art installation that you can see on the way to Las Vegas. I'm not going to try to interpret any of these art pieces for you, but I will leave a link to the Desert X website in the description if you want to read more about any of them. When we finished the first one, we headed about 7 minutes down the road to the second installation, and there's 3 in the Desert Hot Springs area. Using the app to get directions, it's pretty easy to find them as you'll usually see a Desert X sign when you get close. The next one was called the Soul Service Station, and as we drove up, there were signs saying that when your soul's running on empty, we'll fill it up for you. At your service, we're here for you at the Soul Service Station.
Listening to some good music in here.
This one was created by artist Allison Sarr, and it was one of the ones that had the most visitors when we were there. Everybody really seemed to enjoy it, and lots of people were posing for pictures next to the station.
This is awesome. I'm totally digging it. A soul service station with all the signs and then being able to listen to the music. That is a fun installation right there.
I think that one was super cool. Something about serving your soul, just the colors and the way it was built. I liked it.
Heading on to our third installation, we saw a sign for coffee that had an awesome mural on the outside, and we decided to stop. This small shop was called Espresso Self, and they had a cortado on the menu, which is always a win for me, and I have to say it was a very good coffee. Strong, just the way that I like it, and great for a day of exploring. From there, it was only a 5-minute drive to our next stop.
For our next installation, you have to park right here, and then it's about a quarter mile out to the art. Luckily, it's a nice day and it's not hot at all with the beautiful clouds, so I'm not upset about walking in the desert. One of the things I love the most about Desert X is how it encourages you to explore the Coachella Valley, areas you would have never gone to. You go to them because that's where the installations are and you get to see new things. Beautiful views.
The next installation was by an artist known as Kim Suja, and it was called To Breathe. This one felt like a maze where you walked all the way into the middle of the art. One of the coolest things about this one was the material that it was built out of just reflected the light and made these interesting prisms as you were exploring.
Very unique. I wouldn't have known that you could see a rainbow reflection and just this whole thing with plexiglass. It's sort of cool.
I didn't know what to expect with this one, but this is very, very cool, especially the way the light reflects and creates rainbows. I bet if the sun was out, it'd probably be pretty incredible in here. Mom got lost trying to exit. We found her way out.
Turned around. Blame it on old age.
We spent about 15 minutes just walking around and taking in all of the different views. And I don't know if it comes through in the video, but this was a really cool piece of art.
I have to say, the first 3 installations were pretty strong. This is a fun year at Desert X. We're heading about 25 minutes south to go to our next stop.
I thought I liked the soul one best, but that was only number 2, and now number 3 far surpassed it.
After walking the quarter mile back to the parking area, we got in our car and we drove about 25 minutes through the Coachella Valley to our next stop at Sunnylands. First opened in 2012, it's free to the public and it's a 15-acre garden that's beautiful to see.
This is Sunnylands, which is always a beautiful place to come to, even when it's not Desert X. But they have an installation here every year, and here's this one.
I said every year, but I meant every Desert X, so every 2 years, and this one was known as the Living Pyramid.
Must be something with the light coming in on this side because you can see there's a lot less on this side than there is on that one. That's actually really, really pretty with all the wildflowers in it.
Online it said this was allowed to grow over 6 months and that it was planted with vegetation that is native to the region. After that, the process is left alone and some will go to seed and some will die, but all of them look beautiful when they're flowering. This is another great installation, and my mom and I spent 15 minutes just walking around the flowers and taking it all in. If you've never been to Sunnylands, then I recommend you spend some time exploring the gardens here. I don't think I've ever seen gardens as well manicured as the ones that they have on the property. Heading on, it was only about a 7-minute drive to the next stop. This piece is called Truth Arrives in Slanted Beams, and it's by the artist Sarah Mayojas. This one is situated out in the desert where they often have installations for Desert X, and it's interesting that they actually built a cement walkway to get out to it. When I was exploring the piece, I figured you had to come at certain times of day to see the reflection going up onto the wall.
There you go, that's an example of what it looks like when it's reflecting on the wall. That's pretty cool. All right, so I'm finding out new things every moment, but you can actually move these so that you can see the reflection. Arrives in. We're making our own art with the two combined.
The signs themselves are actually a little bit heavy, but it was so cool to be able to walk around and to reflect the different patterns against the wall. I even saw a couple families show up and the kids were having a great time doing it also.
I mean, look at that. I don't see any words at all on that. But then you pull it up and there you go. That's another really fun installation. I had no idea what to expect when I went up there. I didn't even know you could move those things for a little while. And then once you do, it's just a cool interactive element. Really fun.
Leaving that piece behind, we also left the cities behind and drove about 15 minutes out into the desert.
This is the most remote of the exhibits today. It's pretty close to the freeway, but you kind of walk out there and we're gonna see what we're gonna see. This is also the only one that we've gone to today that's had no other people at it, so I don't know what that's gonna mean for the installation.
Once you park, you walk about 5 minutes out into the sand until you start to see some of the pieces, and this one is called What Remains.
It's interesting, I thought it was material, but it's actually sandpaper. I'm gonna have to read about this one as I have no idea what I'm looking at. My mom said it's her favorite one so far though.
On the Desert X map, there's actually a few more installations you can see out this way from earlier years, but we didn't go to them.
And with that, we're getting on the freeway and we're heading 20 minutes back towards Palm Springs.
Heading back to Gene Autry Trail, we made our way south in order to turn around and to see the billboard installation, which can only be seen when you're driving north.
This is our next one, and it's really difficult to see, but they always do something with the billboards as you're driving on this part of the road. So there you can see them up there. We'll try to get a shot as we're driving by.
These are always difficult to view as there's not really anywhere to pull off and to see them well. But driving north along the road, you can stay in the right lane, you can drive a little bit slower so you can see them as you go by. This is actually part of a larger story which leads to our next installation, and on the Desert X website you can watch a video that shows you more about it.
We made it to our next one, and this one actually moves, so be sure you look at the spot online if you're coming out to see it. Ghost Ride means Generative Habitation Operating System Technology. It's pretty cool. Look at the wheels on that thing. You take that to Antarctica or something. It is very shiny also. And check this out. They got a seat with an awesome golden animal head.
I thought this one was really unique, and I liked the way it stuck out from the surrounding landscape and the way it looked with the mountains behind it.
I don't know, that's another pretty cool, interesting installation. We're gonna take a break before we do the last two, and we're gonna go get some dinner in Palm Springs. Took a short detour in downtown Palm Springs near the art museum, and that's actually a Desert X installation from 2017, I think, right there. If you're already at Desert X though, you should definitely come down here. There's lots of cool installations right outside of the art museum, such as this one, and of course the always popular Maryland in a new location now.
She used to be standing on the pedestrian path that went towards the art museum, but they moved her here since the last time I visited, and I actually think this is a pretty cool spot for her as she's surrounded by palm trees. I do like this statue. It reminds me of old Hollywood, and I think it's a cool icon in Palm Springs.
Alright, now we can go get dinner.
I have a ton of great brunch spots in Palm Springs, but I never really know where to go here for dinner. So this time I decided to try a new place called Chicken Ranch. We started with a couple drinks, and then my mom wanted to order something called the Beet Stack, which was beets with pistachio cream and blue cheese. It was incredible and definitely the highlight of the meal for us. And then for dinner, I got the chicken wok with stir-fried chicken and veggies, and my mom got the BLT chicken sandwich. We both loved the chicken wok, but we weren't really sold on the BLT chicken sandwich, so maybe try something other than that when you go. Leaving downtown Palm Springs behind, it was on to our last 2 stops for this Desert X.
This one's a little bit confusing. You park near the visitor center and then I couldn't figure out where it was at, but you actually walk and it's out there. It is getting chilly as well. My mom decided to stay in the car for this one. Can you guys believe how beautiful it is right now though? It is incredibly beautiful.
This one was known as Plotting Rest, and I thought it was cool how it was built into the landscape and had the amazing mountains behind it, making for some pretty unique pictures and views. Also, as I look at the Desert X map while editing this, I seem to have missed one of the installations called Adobe Oasis in downtown Palm Springs. So don't skip that one if you're coming out to do this.
Apparently I shouldn't have had dinner. I should have gone and done these last 2 stops because once the sun goes down, it is freezing out here. One more spot left. Last one, and Mom decided to get out of the car for this one.
With my coat.
Our last installation in this year's Desert X was won by the artist Sanford Biggers and was known as Unsui.
They say it's about 30 feet tall, and there's my mom for reference.
I really liked this one, and it's one of the most popular for photos in this Desert X. I especially liked how the clouds had sequins on them and the wind made them move and sparkle. The wind was really cold, but it was worth it to see the clouds come to life like this.
We escaped back in the car because it's so cold. Mom, what was your favorite today?
Well, I definitely like some, and I didn't like others. I think my favorite one was like an inside maze that had beautiful, like almost like prism lights, depending on the reflection of the sun. It was really cool.
Yeah, that one was awesome. I think I liked the Soul Station. That one was a lot of fun. It was just such an interesting idea to have in the middle of the desert. So what do you think, Mom? You're gonna do this again with me in 2 years?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You guys got about a month or so. I'll leave the dates in the description. You can come check this out if you're interested. Let me know what your favorite is in the comments. We'll see you on the next one.